Hey guys, Dan here.
And Frank.
And we are the Mazer Squad podcast. Today we will be reviewing Sea Beast. It is a Netflix movie. It just came out about 3 weeks ago. But it's a pretty decent movie, and it is Kaiju related, so we're going to cover it here.
It's really good.
But before we do that, we have tons of media and comic book news. And
It's just nonstop.
Nonstop.
Well,
Yeah. And we will be reviewing Kaijus vs. Cowboys issue number 0 and MMPR vs. Godzilla issue number 4. So
we got a hefty show for you today.
Yeah, a lot of stuff to cover. But I guess we'll start with the news. And I guess the biggest news right now is that they've officially started filming the Godzilla vs. Kong sequel. Apparently the project's title is Origins. We already heard this a couple months ago that they were filming some stuff, but they weren't sure if that was for the Apple TV show or if that was for the movie. That's kind of where those Dan Stevens rumors started coming out too. But apparently they are filming it in Australia, and it's supposed to be taking place, at least a couple of scenes taking place in Brazil.
Yeah, there's those flags up on the beach. They're doing a beach scene, which I'm excited about.
Yeah, maybe it'll be like that Top Gun Maverick scene.
It looks like, they have everybody's on the beach looking at something in terror coming out of the water.
Yeah.
And it looks like the city scenes. So I like to see a nice beach scene in these movies. And it's a daytime scene.
Yeah.
So
yeah, maybe
I know that's one of the complaints a lot of people had about King of the Monsters was nighttime scenes constantly. They went away from the dark scenes in Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have complaints about
definitely brighter.
But we also saw there's a bunch of set photos online. One of the set photos was like a dockish type of scene, and they were like old, I would say, I don't know, have you seen that picture? I would say it was like a 60s, 50s, 60s, maybe 70s-ish era cars and vehicles on the dock. So that was clearly a flashback scene, as it's been rumored Wyatt Russell's going to play the younger version of Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
Not Russell Crowe, Kurt Russell. Russell. Too much Russells.
Too many Russells.
Yeah, Kurt Russell. He's playing the younger version of Kurt Russell, so we're going to be seeing some flashbacks for sure in this movie.
Yeah.
Which is going to be pretty interesting. And so Origins, we're going to see pre-2014 Godzilla, I'm assuming. We might see some Kong. I'm sure we'll see lots of Kong. Everyone thinks it's a Kong movie. They don't even think it's a Godzilla vs. Kong movie. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I think it's just going to be like they have to come up with these like generic like monster versus titles, so it might not be a versus movie, but it still might have both. We'll have to see how like what they want to do moving forward as far as like they can't always be fighting each other.
I mean, nobody even knows what the movie's about. We know it's Origins, but they don't even know who's in the movie, who's coming back for the movie. All we know is Dan Stevens, Wyatt Russell, and Kurt Russell. That's all we know for cast for the movie so far.
Yeah.
We don't know if Millie Bobby Brown's coming back. We don't know who's coming back.
I would like her to come back. I feel like it's good to have characters that cross over from each movie. I know it's not quite like a Godzilla thing to have like the same characters a little bit in the Heisei era, but
I saw a lot in the Heisei.
I think it would be cool to see her come back, and maybe in a bigger role than she had in Godzilla vs. Kong.
I mean, I felt like she had a pretty big role. I think it was whittled down, but I just felt like she had a pretty
It probably
role.
definitely was whittled down, but like I just thought it was weird that she got the B plot when she was kind of like the A plot character in the King of the Monsters movie.
Yeah.
But we'll see what they end up doing.
And it's slated for March of 2024 right now is what the date seems to be. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Hopefully no delays. Hopefully this HBO debacle doesn't involve that.
That's actually something I wanted to talk about. It wasn't in the notes. It was like, I'm really happy now. We've kind of been ragging on these series kind of not being on HBO Max. But I could probably guarantee you right now that if they were, they would be canceled. This Kong anime and this would 100% get canceled.
No, I think so. I think HBO might have acted.
Yeah, so I think Legendary not going with Warner Brothers for like the spin-off like TV shows and stuff was probably a pretty smart idea.
Oh, it was absolutely clutch idea. I
Yeah,
mean,
because yeah, they would not be happening right
yeah,
now.
yeah, and we wouldn't be happy right now either.
Yeah, I mean, and the bad stuff between that is like even if HBO said, okay, we're canceling it because they're doing this for tax purposes and they're getting written off as like losses. It's not like another company can come along and be like, well, can we license the show and put it on our platform? The answer is no. Like, those are
No,
sealed away forever. Unless they get
yeah,
leaked, they're never
yeah,
seeing any of that HBO stuff ever.
it's unfortunate.
Yeah. Speaking of streaming services that might be overstepping, but might also be trying to save themselves, is Crunchyroll. We've talked about them, I think, on our first episode of the podcast, them buying Funimation. And
Yep.
now they've bought RightStuf Anime, which if you've bought like a collector's edition, like I have a One Punch Man collector's edition, they do like more expensive DVD releases and Blu-ray releases for anime. Like I know they sell like a $200 Cells at Work season 2 DVD set, which I'm like, oh, I'm not buying that. But like they also do a bunch of collectibles and stuff. So Crunchyroll is buying it. I guess just to have a physical distribution, which was one of our main things. Was Crunchyroll doesn't really do physical releases. At the time, they only had one physical release prior to them buying Funimation. So they've been primarily streaming. I've seen some people saying online that the reason that they might have bought RightStuf was because the streaming bubble is somewhat popping and they're realizing, okay, we're not going to make all of our money off subscriptions, but if we have somebody that's a fan of the show, they're already paying $10 a month for us for a subscription, maybe they'll pay $30 for a Blu-ray of our show just so that they can own it. So I think
Yeah.
that that's why they're buying RightStuf Anime.
Yeah, I mean, like myself, I don't consider myself a massive anime fan. I have a few handpicked ones. So like for me to have a Crunchyroll subscription, it just wouldn't make sense for me. That's why I didn't see SS Dynazen when it came out because I didn't want to pay for the subscription. I'm like I know it's eventually going to get a Blu-ray release and we got it.
Yeah.
So and I just finished that. Love that. And Funimation did the Shin Godzilla release here.
Yeah.
So hopefully now that Crunchyroll has their physical media platform, maybe that means they're going to be the ones doing Shin Ultraman. I don't know.
I would hope so.
There's still not much news on that front because all we know is that I believe Malaysia is getting a release in October and Taiwan is September.
Which those are usually English, at least subtitle releases.
Yeah, they have the English trailer out there.
Yeah.
And we know there's a subtitled one because they did it.
Yeah, they did the film festival.
They did the film festival, so it's just who's going to release the physical version of it.
I would be happy if Crunchyroll did it and actually put it on a physical media. It looks like that's where they're going with the company.
Which is great.
This new Dragon Ball Super movie that's coming out, I think in like 2 weeks. That because they had that fake Shin Ultraman announcement where Funimation faked from Funimation account said that they were doing it and they were changing the name of the movie and everything, which I don't know why Kaiju news outlets were reporting on that because one, it wasn't a verified account. Two, if the Dragon Ball Super movie is being branded with Crunchyroll, you know that nothing is ever going to get Funimation branding if they're doing Dragon Ball Z with that.
Funimation's dead, sort of.
Yeah, it's just absorbed into Crunchyroll.
Yep.
But more Crunchyroll news. Actually, this might be some pretty good news. Is that Kaiju number 8 has been announced to get a season 1 from Crunchyroll. So it's right now they have the 3rd volume just came out of the manga, so it's pretty new. But I think it came out in 2020, and there was a bit of delay with COVID and everything.
Yeah, it released December 2020 in Japan, and then the English version came out here December 2021, and they didn't release another version until the English version came out here in America a year later, and now they're pretty much staggered releases, so they get theirs and we get that volume the following month, I guess, because of translation and everything. So the next issue or volume will be out in December, and it looks like it's pretty much going to be every 2 to 3 months, hoping that there's no supply chain issues.
Yeah.
But it's been on the list since I first came over here. I just randomly saw it in a Target around the holidays on the shelf. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll check that out. I knew nothing about it. And I've been hearing so many good things about it. So now that they announced the anime, now I'm like, oh, I definitely need to pick this up. I mentioned it on our Twitter earlier today, that Target is starting on Sunday, which is the 7th of August. They're going to have a 20% off manga sale. So if you're looking to pick it up, Target has them. I don't know if they have them locally by you. You could probably get them shipped to you. So take a look at Target if you want to pick them up, or anywhere else online. I'm sure it has them too.
Yeah.
I'm sure usually when somebody does a sale, everybody else online starts competing with that sale. So we'll see. I'm definitely going to pick it up. I have a big backlog of stuff to read right now. I mean, I would assume this series probably, they only just announced its development. I'm assuming we probably won't see it till 2024.
Yeah, 2023 would be, it would have to be like late 2023.
Yeah.
If we did get it that early. Because I know like the Ultraman seasons take a long time, and it's just, we don't even know who's doing the actual show. We just heard that Crunchyroll announced it. I don't even know if they announced like what studio's doing it, or
anime takes a long time to come out too.
Yeah,
is the other thing. I mean, people wait years between seasons for anime. That's one of the reasons I haven't been always a huge anime person. I mean, I like I said, I'm very picky with what I watch.
Yeah, it depends. It depends on the show. Like, you know, some of them it's like, okay, they're gonna come out. If it's like a big one, they'll do one almost every week for like a couple of years straight. And if it's a smaller series, they might do like one season every other year or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
the next news.
That's it as far as Crunchyroll. I mean, we're gonna keep an eye on them because it looks like they're really trying to make some headway here. I was a little worried when they first bought Funimation that they would kind of just like fizzle, but it seems like they're really trying here. So,
especially for me particularly, was the whole Gridman series too, because I'm like, oh, I got 2 awesome seasons of a SSS Dynazenon and Gridman series, and the next project's a movie, which I'm assuming is the conclusion.
Yeah, that's what I think. It's gonna probably have like the two of them like coming together or something like that.
Yeah, there's still been nothing on that series news-wise besides the initial promo art with Gridman and the Dynazenon dragon form.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all we got is a single picture, and we know it's going to be a movie.
Yeah. And just to mention, if you guys go and follow us over on Twitter, we're doing a giveaway for August. All you do is retweet a specific, you'll see it's a giveaway tweet. You just have
follow us and like it.
Yeah, follow us, like us, retweet it, and you'll be entered to win a digital code for Dynazenon. So,
and we'll probably be doing a review for that series shortly, maybe even next episode.
Yeah, and so it's going to be, again, at Mazer Squad on Twitter.
Yep.
So yeah, next news, more release news, and that's going to be Space Sheriff Gavan, which is the first series of the Metal Heroes series. It's coming on Blu-ray by Discotech Media. They had previously done Mega Beast Investigator Jaspin, which is the I think it's like the 6th season of the Metal Heroes line. I mean, they're all like individual shows, but you know, like a lot of these henshin shows, it's like a new season is a new series every year. If you're not super familiar with Metal Heroes, it's the same series that they used for VR Troopers and Big Bad Beetleborgs. And if you've watched Beast Morphers, Gavan actually had an episode that he was in, which I couldn't believe that they actually brought him to America for an English Power Rangers episode.
I think I actually did see that randomly because, you know,
all
I do is watch Power Ranger YouTube videos with my 2-year-old now.
Yeah, so you know, and this is not going to be Discotech Media is known for their SD on Blu-ray releases. This is not going to be an SD on Blu-ray release. This is a full, at least from what I've understood, full Blu-ray transfer. And the stuff that he's been posting on Twitter, he's been posting some clips, and it looks really good. So if it is just SD on Blu-ray, it still looks really good.
Yeah.
So that's really exciting. They've announced some other things on Discotek, and I think it's going to be a label we're going to have to keep an eye on because they seem to like really be trying to step up a little bit now.
There was a giant. I forget what it was. It was a giant robot anime. I want to say it was called the Guy King Dragon something. That one sort of piqued my interest too. He was going off the other day, just like boom, boom. We're releasing this. We're releasing this. So, yeah, it's some exciting times where you're getting some obscure toku in the States over here now.
Yeah. Happy to see that's coming to that. I'm hoping that since they went back to space, to Gavan, I'm hoping maybe they'll announce that they're doing a Metal Heroes series release. Maybe awesome. They'll start getting more of them, but we'll see. Yeah. But to move on to limited releases, we have the Kong 1933 Blu-ray. It's coming back out. It's getting reprinted by Warner Archive. This is going to be a pretty well needed re-release, although it makes me a little worried, but who knows. I'm hoping that they're using this as a trial run to see if this sells well. Is there interest for 4K on the 90th anniversary next year?
Yes.
Right now, if before this was announced, if you looked on eBay and you were trying to buy this, if you were going to get a sealed copy of King Kong on Blu-ray, it's like $100, and then even if you're going to get one that's opened and all like destroyed and stuff, it was still like in the 60s. It was really overpriced. And if you have the slipcover, which I know you'd have, that like Monsters Attack slipcover, which isn't even that good of art, but it's like okay art. Yeah. It's just like $150 for that. It's crazy. So
you're saying I should sell mine?
Well, you should have. I don't even know what it's worth now. It's probably still worth, because you have a slipcover, it's probably still worth a decent chunk of money.
Oh, a slipcover is always nice to have.
But, I'm really happy that Warner Archive's reprinting it, and I'm hoping this means that they're testing the waters, and maybe next year for the 90th anniversary, we'll get a 4K with like Dolby Vision and all that crazy stuff.
I would like that. And I would also like the option to see the color version too.
And if it's on a Blu-ray release, there really shouldn't have. There's really no excuse as to why that wasn't on there.
Yeah.
Besides that, it's not the greatest colorization in the world, but like, who cares?
But,
it's just an extra thing.
It's still an option.
Exactly.
It's a viewing choice.
Yeah.
I would also like to see Son of Kong get a Blu-ray release too.
It actually does. I have the Blu-ray release.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, and it's very cheap. It's not the greatest transfer in the world, and some scenes are completely blown out.
Is it HD?
I mean, I think it's an HD transfer, yes.
Oh.
It's not the greatest transfer in the world, but I think probably with the resources that they have, it's probably the best one that we're going to get. I mean, it's Son of Kong, so
true.
I
guess I should probably look for that then.
It's really cheap. It's like $10.
Just to complete the collection.
Yeah, it's super cheap. So yeah, I would definitely get it. In other news, I know we've covered this on the previous podcast, but we kind of messed up a couple things on it when announcing it. That was the Kamen Rider Kruga. That's coming out September 20th from Shout Factory on Blu-ray. I think it's gonna be about $50. And then we also have, which I said it was Bioman. Well, I was wrong. It's
5.
It's 5-man. So we're getting a Choku Sentai 5-man, and that's going to be September 6th, and that's going to be on DVD. It's probably going to be the best release we're going to get of any of like the Sentai stuff, because it's all filmed on tape, so it's never going to get an HD transfer because there's no HD elements to be had. So it's going to be, I think, also like around the $50 mark. It's kind of expensive. One thing to note, though, is I had seen that it's exclusively on Shout Factory. So I don't know if they're doing like a limited run or what. So that Shout Factory stuff I would probably pick up, though, because they're known for just printing like 1,500 copies and that's being it.
That's kind of, I was picking up their Super Sentai sets. I'm looking now.
I mean, they're nice sets, but they're just expensive.
I have 5 of them. Yeah, they're really nice sets. I got 5 of them, and I felt like they started slowing down, and I'm like, are they going to stop doing this? I'm like, I don't want to start collecting them.
And then they did stop with Hurricaneger, which is the Ninja Storm if you're a Power Rangers fan.
Yeah. So I was kind of like, you know what? I'm going to stop picking them up. There's still a bunch that I don't have. So like I said, I only have 5 of them.
Yeah, I only have Gigaman, which is Wild Force.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, it's Lost Galaxy.
Yeah. Yeah, so now that they've announced this, now I'm like, all right, maybe I should start picking them up. They're still available, though.
Yeah, no, the ones that they had previously released are readily available.
Yeah.
I just noticed on one of their Twitter posts that it said exclusively on Shout Factory. So I just not sure if it's going to be only on their website or if they're just saying, oh, we're the ones who are putting it out. But I was I know Shout Factory is sometimes a little weird with their releases where, like, for some reason they only print like 2,000 copies of a Doctor Strange DVD. Then you're never going to get it again.
Yeah, so I guess we're going to have to grab that one then.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to rush to grab it. I was hoping it would go on sale, but now that you're saying this, I'm going to probably grab it.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes they do going out of print sales, but then, then they're out of print.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we just have some other news, which is the Curse of the Kraken. Is that another one of these, like, ITN releases?
It's another one of the, it's another Chinese release. They are going nuts in China with the creature feature and monster movies. And, like, the CG, though, for these look great in the trailers. Like, and this is only they're only getting DVD releases over here. I just sent you one earlier. What was that? Did I send you Mutant Sea Serpent?
Yeah, I think it was Mutant Sea Serpent. I was like, is this like Snake?
It's like, that one looks crazy too. It's it takes place on a cruise ship, and you got
Deep Sea Mutant Snake.
Yeah, it's like you have like regular small snakes attacking people on the cruise ship. Then you got like a big anaconda-sized one, and at the end of the trailer, you see like a massive kaiju-sized snake, and the CG looks fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what's going on over there in China, but they're cranking out all these crazy monster movies.
The only thing I can think is it's just a popular genre over there. Like, maybe it's just that's the craze right now is monster movies.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. And then that movie The Lake, that looks fantastic. That one's with practical effects. We tweeted that out earlier this year on our Twitter.
Yeah.
That's actually out this month sometime and over there, and it looks really good. I'm hoping that we get that on a DVD over here or Blu-ray, because that looks fantastic too.
Yeah, just like
that one looked like top tier out of all of them, but they all look really good lately.
Yeah, so hopefully we get at least some type of well, for Kraken we are getting a physical release, but hopefully those other ones, especially that Lake one, because that one looked really good, hopefully that comes over here.
Yeah.
So other just quick update on these final 6 Ultraman sets that they've announced from MillCreek. They're all on deep discount with like a October 11th release date. We don't know if it's placeholder date or what. It's really weird that like they've announced them and kind of just went like radio silent on any details or even cover art for them. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, it's been really weird. I don't know if there's a supply chain issue going on with them, and there's just been a lot of weird things, like comic books just kind of be like, all right, it's coming out this month, and then all of a sudden there's no release date for it. Same thing with these Ultraman DVDs. They were supposed to be out last month for the tentative placeholder dates, and now that placeholder date's October 11th. We don't know what's going on with these releases.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my only guess is supply chain issues. I mean, Antarctic Press, that's doing the Spectreman comic books, they were at San Diego Comic-Con. They must be a small crew because I saw them on Facebook earlier this week. Their whole staff has COVID.
Oh my God.
So they're like, yeah, we're not doing anything this week. There was like one healthy person that was writing the Facebook post. That's it. And hopefully they get better soon. I mean, those Spectreman comics, it's another obscure thing that we've got over here in the States that you would never expect to see. And Antarctic Press is doing great releasing something that obscure here.
Yeah. Well, actually happened at work. Like we have like materials people for like when we order stuff. Like they're the ones who will be like, oh, your thing came in, like whoever. So I'm like walking and I'm seeing like one of the materials guys and he's wearing scrubs. And he's like, yeah, he's like the rest of the materials department is out with COVID, so he's like, if you need anything, just ask me. And he's like, usually like I see him like in a suit.
Oh,
he's like
boy.
wearing scrubs, like pushing boxes around.
Rough. That's
Yeah,
rough.
so it's going around. It's making
Yeah.
it's yeah. But
And what more release that I wanted to mention? It's a creature feature, I guess you could call it. It's not a monster, but August 18th this month is the Beast is coming out, or Beast in theaters with Idris Elba. It's kind of like, from the way I've read, it's sort of like Jaws. He goes on his wife passes away and he goes on a safari in Africa with his two daughters, and they become the prey of a lion. So they're being hunted down by this lion.
oh, I think
And
I've seen
the
this.
movie looks really good. Like I said, it's more of a creature feature than a monster thing. I would, like I said, it's land Jaws in my opinion, but I haven't seen it yet. But it looks pretty good. So
Yeah, I think I have seen the trailer for this.
yeah, no, it looks really cool. And Idris Elba, I mean, he's awesome.
Yeah, I know
Pacific
Idris
Rim,
Elba. That voice.
yeah, he's Knuckles.
Yeah. All right, and then one other thing. It's a game that we just completely forget to keep mentioning on our podcast, and that's Gigabash.
Yeah, I mean, every episode for the last since we started this, I'm like, we forgot to mention Gigabash, and we just forgot to put it on. And we finally remembered. It came out yesterday. It was actually supposed to come out today. August 5th was the release date, and I got an email yesterday, and they were like, "Boom, it's out! It's out on Steam. It's out on PlayStation."
I don't know if there was a mistake or if it's because it's like, I know, like sometimes people can pre-order stuff in like Australia, like on like an Australian account and get it like the day before.
Oh, maybe that's why it came out August 4th. Then it could be it.
I did see them say on Twitter that there was a price discrepancy. There was actually $15 more than it should have been. So maybe it released like a little too early, and that's why the price was higher, because that was like a placeholder price. It wasn't really supposed to be the real price. But I've seen some really cool clips online.
Oh man, yeah, it looks awesome.
And probably one of my favorite things is they have the Godzilla Astro Monster victory dance on one of the characters. So I was like, oh, that's a nice little throwback.
No, it looks really good. I mean, they have 9 different characters you can play. You got like that one that was doing the dance was the Godzilla-like character. They have one, to me, resembles a mashup of Ultraman aliens. He looks like Alien Bolton mixed with Zedin.
Yeah, I know the one you're talking about.
They have a dad bod Ultraman type of character. He's from his character bio, he's apparently a retired hero, and he comes out of retirement for this. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty cool looking game.
It looks super fun. I've been watching it for a while now, and I really want to pick it up. I'm just like a physical guy though. I really prefer a physical copy, so I'm really hoping limited run releases a physical copy of it.
Hopefully, we'll see.
Fingers crossed, like Dawn of the Monsters. I'm gonna give it a couple weeks, because right now I'm too backlogged with anything. I can't really play video games right now anyway. And if I'm not hearing anything on it, I'm gonna pick it up digitally, because I absolutely want to play this game. It looks awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely looks cool. And I was looking at some of the models today, like the character models, and I'm like, like, they look super detailed. I'm like,
the animation and all the graphics look great on it.
Yeah.
But
they did a
great job.
Yeah,
and I'm hoping they release more characters. It sounds like they will, so we'll see.
And that's basically it for our like media movie news. And we're gonna be going onto some comic book news, and
there's a lot.
Yeah, so
it just doesn't stop. So we were in a little quiet month for July, but now we're back. We're just steamrolling through these comics now. They're just going to be coming out, boom, boom, boom. Hopefully, there's still no word on what happened to Godzilla Rivals vs. Gigan that was supposed to be out in June. it's still listed for pre-order or sold out on websites everywhere. But we got earlier this week Godzilla Rivals versus Batra. Mine is on the way, so I'm excited for that. Definitely going to be reviewing that. And it's going to be part of the trade paperback that is coming out later on in December, I believe. And after that, we also have Redman issue 2 just came out last week, July 27th. That issue features Icarus, which is the bat-like kaiju that we've seen in Ultraman. I read that issue. It's really cool. It's basically, if you've ever seen the first Redman Icarus episode, it's basically that. The Icarus is like I said, it's this bat kaiju. It's just by itself, minding its own business in a dark, scary forest, and just Ultraman just kind of like almost like creepily hunts it down and kills them. Not Ultraman, Redman. Pretty cool art. It's all Matt Frank art. Tons. I think there's like 4 different covers for this comic.
Yeah, I've seen quite a few.
They're going nuts with the variants for this series. All the covers look awesome. And then the next issue of that is coming out this month, August 24th, and that's the Canagon issue. Everyone knows Canagon from Ultraman. That's another popular monster from Ultraman. And then the following issue in September is going to be a monster from the series Mighty Jack, actually. Most of the monsters in the Redman series were all Ultra monsters, except for this one. I forgot the name of it. I'll look it up and I'll get back to you guys on that one in the next episode when we cover the comic releases again. And then after that, we have Ultraman, The Mystery of Ultra 7. It's finally here. It's coming out August 7th. I cannot wait for this comic book.
Yeah.
It's been so long since the last Ultraman series from Marvel, and this was supposed to be released back out in the spring, late winter this year, and we're getting it late summer. So I'm happy to have it. I pre-ordered my cover. I chose cover B with the Ultra 7 and Ultraman just towering over the city with a jet flying by them. All the covers looked great for this.
Yeah, I haven't ordered yet. I think I might get the one with him and Ultraman on it. I'm not quite sure yet.
Yeah. If I would highly suggest, if you haven't read them yet, the trade paperbacks for the first 2 arcs are available. I think they're like $15. Sometimes they're even cheaper. I think you grab.
No, I'm definitely gonna probably get the trade paperback ones.
Yeah, I've even been debating getting them, even though I have all the comics, just to do a quick refresher before it starts.
Yeah,
I have such a backlog of comics right now.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to get more on top of it.
Yeah, and some exciting news for series announcements. At San Diego Comic-Con, they announced Godzilla Monsters and Protectors is coming back. We were just talking about this right before Comic-Con, the series, because we were just talking about Godzilla series. This second arc is going to be called All Hail the King. The cover that they showed shows his aliens on it, so you can only assume they're referring to Godzilla and King Ghidorah if those aliens are involved. This is more of a young adult focused book, which I've said on Twitter before. I'm like, it's not my favorite Godzilla series, but I like it. I enjoy it. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's for young adults. It's more focused towards kids. Adults can enjoy it. I enjoyed it. I'm excited to see what they do for this arc. I mean, the first arc was Biollante was the main villain. We had Mothra in there. Clearly, we're getting King Ghidorah in this one. I could only assume. I mean, when you see aliens, you pretty much assume.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much guaranteed, right?
Ghidorah is there to follow right behind. So that's a big announcement. And then they also announced they're doing a Best of Mothra one-shot in October.
Yeah, I was a little confused with that one, though, because it sounds like it's like a compilation, but they're calling it a one-shot.
Yeah, they did one with Godzilla a month or 2 ago. I don't know how I feel about it.
Is it just like a best of?
It's a best of. So they're just pulling random issues from past Godzilla comic series that feature Mothra, and they're just putting it into a 100-page book. I mean, if it had like something new in it, I would be into it.
Yeah, the cover is amazing.
For it looks spectacular. That's the only thing that's tempting me about it. But I have all the comics, so there's not really. It doesn't serve any purpose for me to get it, honestly, unless I'm going cover hunting there. I really wish with these one shots, like they would, like not these one shots, these best ofs that they're doing, calling one shots, that they would kind of put a little extra content in it, like maybe a making of the comic. I just read the 3 Stomped issues, and the whole art process that they put in there and the whole writing process that they put at the back of those comics is just so fun to look at and read about. I would almost like these best of comics have a little documentary type of section in it.
Yeah. That'd be pretty cool, but
or you can just throw in like a little mini story,
or concept art or something.
Yeah, give me a 5-page mini comic, even. I would be happy.
Yeah, just something for you just buying it.
Yeah, something new, you know.
Yeah, but yeah, and I think that's about it as far as Godzilla comics go, exclusively. But we do have our review for Godzilla vs. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 4.
Second to last issue.
Yes, yeah, second to last issue. I can kind of see where the series is starting to go now, but
it's also starting to end.
Yeah, it's starting to end. No, I mean that's right. Like what the finale is going to be. Yeah. It's still an awesome issue, and they fit so much, especially this one. I feel like number 4 there was so much story in it.
They progressed it. They had to progress it. They're like, boom, here we go.
Yeah, because I mean, there's only
at the back end. We're more than halfway there.
Yeah. So we start off with the Scorpina insect brigade coming in. So I felt like it was a little bit less than what they showed on the last issue, but we had Scorpina, Kamunga, Kamacuris, Megaris. We said the same thing about Batra. No Batra because nobody respects Batra.
Yeah, we got Batra one shot this month. That's our Batra. That's our Batra for the month.
Just give us Larva Batra. We don't need Moth Batra. Just give us Larva Batra.
Yeah.
But they're starting to fight the Megazord and Godzilla. They're double teaming, and they're starting to get some chemistry in their fighting. So like, Godzilla's giving the atomic breath assist when the Megazord needs it because it's getting all tangled up in the Kamacuris. The Kamunga's webs, and they start really getting some type of chemistry, but not really so much on the enemy side. It kind of is spoken by the Zillions that while they can contain the monsters and release them, they don't really have any
control them.
Yeah, this isn't destroy all monsters. They don't have any control over them. So they kind of started like getting a little bit of friendly fire on Scorpina.
Yep, yeah.
So she just kind of like cuts bait and like gets out of the fight because she's just like, I'm not dealing with this.
Yeah, she's like, screw you guys, I'm going home.
Yeah, so she's out of there, and Rita is just like completely like incensed because she's like, what do you mean you don't control the monsters? Because she's so used to Finster making monsters and sending them out. But his monsters are weaker. So she's saying like, well, what do we got? What else do we got? And he's like, we're not going to win. Zillion Commander. He's like, we're not going to win. He's like, I'm not going to be doing anything else. He's like, that's it. He's like, we're going to regroup. We're going to get your people out of here, and we're going to try again later. Yeah. And Rita's like, I'm not having any of it.
She's like, the Zillion leader's like, I'm done. He's like, I don't want to waste any more resources. I don't want to waste any more monsters. So yeah, Rita's like not having it. So she's just like, all right, guys, we're taking over. So she just has Finster and Goldar jump in, and Finster releases King Ghidorah.
Yeah,
and he's massive.
Yeah,
he's massive.
Yeah. They make him like at least twice the size, if not 3 times the size of Godzilla.
A big boy.
Yeah, he's absolutely massive, and again, while he's released, he's not controlled. So he's, you know, just demolishing, you know, the Megazord, kind of like making the Megazord look like a complete
Oh my
joke.
god. Yeah, the Megazord, they were like, oh, let's get ready to, I forgot what they were going to do to him.
They were going to attack him.
And then he just picked him up with his tail, not even his feet, just like wrapped the tail around, picked him up, tossed him in the ocean.
Yeah, and then just starts hitting him with gravity beams.
Yeah.
The team's really not ready for it. There's really nothing that they can do.
No. And like everything's offline on the Megazord too.
Yeah, no weapons, no defense.
Yeah.
Billy's like, oh, it's some type of gravity ray, and I'm just like, we're detecting gravity? Like what? Like I don't.
It's a gravity. It's some sort of gravity beam. Well, that's what it is.
Yeah. But it's pretty cool, and he's even just demolishing Godzilla. Like really, Godzilla's not even putting up much of a fight.
And then, like you said, the aliens had no control of him. The Ghidorah attacks the alien ship.
Yeah.
Sending them down to the ocean floor.
Yeah.
And while this is going on, Tommy sees the power goes out on the ship, so he breaks out of his cell, takes out a couple of aliens, and he's about to take out another one, and then he's like, "Dude, don't hit me, man." He's like, "I'm about done with this shit." He's like, "Here's your here's your power coin." He's like, "We're done with Rita. We want out of this battle." He's like, "We're gonna come back." He's like, "We're still enemies, but right now the fight's over. We're leaving. We'll come back to conquer Earth later."
Yeah, he's like, as soon as you guys leave, he's like, we'll come back. But he's like, we honestly don't want to deal with you and Godzilla.
Yeah.
So he's like, just take him out, and we'll come back later. And at least as far as Tommy goes, that's like as far as his story goes in this comic book. But basically, you know, they're going to be teasing the Dragon Zord team up is coming. I still don't know to what capacity we're getting. All the art that I've seen, like all the cover art and everything, just shows the Megazord, the Dragon Zord, and Godzilla
side by side.
We don't know if we're getting like an Ultra Megazord yet. We don't know if they're getting Titanus coming in and getting like the ultimate one. We don't know if we're gonna get a combo with Godzilla. Maybe getting some Godzilla cyber armor or something. We don't know.
That would be so cool.
But
I'm hoping for something epic.
Basically, at the end of the fight, Rita's just like, well, we have to take out Ghidorah too because we can't let it destroy us. So she sends in a bunch of her monsters along with an enlarged Goldar, and of course the monster form of Scorpina is still out there, so she's coming in there as well. One thing to know about the Kaiju was really not about the Rita monsters. They weren't really super, at least in my opinion, super like high level Power Ranger villain monsters that she was sending out. It was like the shark, I can't remember the name of, the bee, the lizard one that like Bryan Cranston did the voice for, and so it's like really low tier.
Yeah, because Finster was like, "I'm all out." He's like, "All I got is scraps." So
yeah,
he was like, "This is what I got."
Yeah, so yeah, we're gonna see what happens in the next issue. Obviously, it's gonna be like everybody versus King Ghidorah. I don't think Rita's squad is gonna last more than like a page or two in that fight. So unless we get Goldar with like his like Zord from like the finale of like season 1, I really don't see anything else. But that's gonna be just way too much to fit into one issue. They got to wrap this thing up.
I mean, it's a final issue, so we might get a larger issue. Well, while we're on it, speaking of the last issue, we kind of don't have a official street date for it anymore. There was a September date, then there was an August date. Now there's like no date.
Is there like a trade paperback date in like November or anything like that?
There is a trade paperback date in December.
Oh, December. So I mean,
so it's gotta be, the last issue's gotta be out before December.
Yeah, because they probably want to get it out for Christmas time. So.
I'm gonna assume it's gonna be out next month. I don't see why it wouldn't be out next month.
Unless there's a printing issue or a supply shipping issue, I don't see why it wouldn't.
I'm assuming we're getting it next month, so I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a great series, and I hope to see a follow up to it, because now that we know that they just announced that they're doing a follow up to the 2020 Power Rangers Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossover series.
Yeah.
So it's been 2 years since they first released that series. So they're doing that crossover again. So hopefully we get a Godzilla vs. Power Rangers too. I'm really enjoying it. And I mean, like the Zillion said at the end of this issue, they said they'd be back to conquer Earth. So maybe somehow the Power Rangers will get hailed to come back and help Godzilla once again.
Yeah, that, or maybe Godzilla's coming over to Angel Grove in the Power Rangers universe.
Yeah, maybe Zillions show up there.
Yeah, maybe they'll fight like Master Vile or something like that. Because that was like the big villain of like the culmination of like season 3 was Master Vile taking away all their powers, making them kids, bringing in the Alien Rangers from that point.
Yeah.
So like maybe that could be a transition point. I know they don't really go like the Power Rangers comics. I know the Boom Studio ones, they will bring in other Rangers from other times, but they won't leave like the MMPR era as far as like them becoming Zero Rangers or anything like that. So I wouldn't expect that, because Mighty Morphing is honestly where the money is. But I can see them bringing in like a big villain like Master Vile or Zed. We haven't seen Lord Zed yet, so maybe they'll do something with Lord Zed in the second. If we are lucky enough to get a second team up series. We'll see.
Only dream.
Yeah. So the last bit of comic book news / review news that we're going to be doing, we're going to be covering Cowboys vs. Kaijus.
Kaiju and Cowboys.
Yeah, Kaijus and Cowboys. Issue number 0. Basically, what we're trying to do is we want to review the series before issue 1 comes out. And it is still on a Zoop, which is like a comic book version of Kickstarter. And that's going to be ending on August 17th. So you guys have till then to go over there and support the next issue that's coming out.
I mean, it's grind time now, guys. I mean, we're more than halfway there on the funding.
Yeah.
Only got it's like less than $700.
Yeah, and he's like $700. They have some pretty good reward tiers, including and it's pretty cheap too. Digital comics $5. The physical copy is $7, and then you can get a blank cover for the same price, $7. So really affordable. I'm actually surprised at how cheap it is.
All the little extras too: the stickers, patches, trading cards. Yeah. Frankie B. Washington is the artist on the series. If you follow him on Twitter, Facebook, or anything, you know his big thing is sketch cards. He loves doing his sketch cards. He does great art. I love following him. That's if you follow me on Twitter, you see me constantly retweeting artists. I just love all the monster art that's out there, and Frankie B is one of the great artists out there.
Yeah.
Him and Matthew Blair is Matt Blair is the writer of the series. It's we've discussed it before, but it's Red Man-ish. So
yeah, very Red Man-ish.
The story is Earth gets conquered, and they set out like an Ark type ship into space. A bunch of humans in there and cryo freeze, but on board the ship is an army of robots. So half the army is laborers, or probably more than half the army is laborers, and then we also have our hunter bots. And now the main character in this series goes by the name Bot with no name.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's like he's really cool. His main job is just to hunt down kaiju. So this arc finally found a planet that's inhabitable for the humans, that they could build a new civilization. So though the construction bots are out there, they're building cities, towns. Humans are not there yet. They're still in cryo freeze, sleeping on the ship.
Yeah. So they're gonna wake up when it's a completely perfect, ready to go planet. They don't have to do anything, build anything. Everything's all set up for them with these robots. Life just goes
on. They went to sleep from a nightmare and they wake up in a new paradise.
Yeah.
But while it's going on, they got to build the cities, they got to build the housing, they got to build restaurants, stores, etc. And Bot with No Name, his job is just to make sure that there's no kaiju around because the planet is covered in them.
Yeah.
And he's got some really cool abilities. I mean,
Yeah, really great abilities. If you guys see right above my head, that is the like patch design of Bot with No Name. It's like a cowboy looking. He's got dreadlocks, but like they like his dreadlocks are like PC connectors, so he can. Oh, sorry, hit the mic there. They're like PC connectors, so he can like jack into like another robot's like memory bank and stuff like that.
Yeah, which we see right off the bat. He finds like a destroyed robot, picks up his head, and looks at the recordings. And like, all right, this is the kaiju that attacked it. So he goes on the hunt. He encounters like a pack of like smaller
like T-Rexes.
Like I don't know what the T-Rex Velociraptor things, and he shoots out like these nanobots that he uses to mind control them. So he has these guys with him, and then the big boy that killed the other bot, he shows up, and the Bot with No Name uses this pack to try to fight him, but they stand zero chance. This kaiju is way beyond his level, and like his little AI or whatever system in his head is like, listen, chance of survival is not looking that good. So like he's fighting this thing. He's got like a grappling arm. He's got wrist rockets that he's shooting at. So it activates like a bioweapon.
Yeah,
and it like causes a big explosion. He loses his head, and it's sort of like almost like a kamikaze type. He kind of like killed himself, but he didn't. Because meanwhile, we see at the beginning, he leaves out of a futuristic looking wagon that's pulled by a giant kaiju called
the Steed.
The Steed, horned monster, 4 legs, pretty cool. But this wagon, it's like his lab. So like a little drone comes out, picks up his body, brings it back to the cart, and then just rebuilds the dude. So this guy can't really die.
Yeah, no, he can. It's very Redmanish. Like basically, we covered the whole story. I think it's only like maybe like a 25-page comic book, but it's a lot of action. So it's a lot of panels with no text.
Yeah,
and we get the story beforehand.
Yes.
But like some really cool art. Like I got the digital. You have the physical version, but I bought the digital version when I backed it originally on Kickstarter. And like it looks really good. Like this is like some like the art, like super awesome looking. And then like the fight scenes and stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
they're awesome.
I don't want to show off too much stuff because obviously this is somebody's work. But just to show you guys like what like it's an awesome like little comic book series.
Yeah.
So,
I mean the robot doesn't talk. All the dialogue that you see is sort of, it's like onboard systems kind of like activating this mode, doing this. It's purely art. It's great.
Yeah.
There's a story to it, but it's a lot of art.
Yeah. And it looks like in issue 1 they're going to be introducing what looks like, I don't know if it's going to be like an assistant or like it's almost like a butler looking guy. He's got like a bowler hat on.
He looks like a bartender, like a saloon butler.
Yes, that's exactly. So
I think
really interested.
He is at a saloon, so
yeah, I'm really interested to see where this goes because on the Zoop they do have some. Basically, I think the art is done for this first issue.
It's ready to go.
So I've been looking at some of it. And it's really good. So I'm kind of really want to see where this story is going.
Yeah, I mean they really worked hard on this comic. So
they're estimating a 12. They want to do a 12-issue arc for this, so it's going to be pretty big.
No, definitely.
Yeah. So we're gonna have the link for this one down below. We don't have any links to issue 0, but we definitely have a link to the Zoop. And you guys will be able to support there and kind of see the majority of the stuff that they have over there.
And like we mentioned, there's tons of like little add-ons you can do, which is what I like about this Zoop platform is that sometimes with the Kickstarter it's like, all right, you got to pick a reward tier, but you can't get everything. Like if you want this, you got to go with this bundle, but then you also get all this other stuff that you don't want.
Yeah.
or don't need.
Yeah, this one's kind
So
of a la
like here,
carte.
you could hand pick a la carte. You could get multiple issues. You could get, like you said, if you want stickers, you could add the stickers. You don't need to get the stickers. If you want cards, you can add the card, individual cards, patches. Like I mentioned earlier, Frankie is a big sketch card guy. One of the reward tiers is you could have him do a single character sketch card for you.
Yeah, yeah, and it's
Um,
pretty well priced. I think that's
yeah,
like $60. He
yeah,
does have some of the original art from the comic book. Those, I mean, those are a little bit more expensive, but it's really good art.
no, yeah.
And then like yeah, they have like like the sticker pack, the patch pack, trading cards you can add on, and yeah, I mean just like a pretty decent little series going on over here, and
Absolutely. You
even
guys gotta check it out. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah. So
indie comics is where it's at right now. I mean, we gotta embrace all the new kaiju content that we can get while we're getting it. I mean, like I said, years ago we would be clamoring for this stuff.
yeah,
Now it's getting, we're seeing indie guys do it so much for us now. So
yeah,
gotta be happy with what we're getting right now, and I love it.
yeah. So yeah, that's basically it as far as Kaijus and Cowboys. Uh, Again, check the link down below. But we're going to be moving on to the main event, which is going to be our review of Netflix's Sea Beast.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty cool movie
Yeah.
and very kaiju. Even though it's a pirate movie, there's sea shanties. It's very inspired, very clearly inspired by
Yes.
kaiju,
Yeah.
the genre of kaiju movies, and also the symbolism that's often incorporated
God,
into a lot of the older, especially a lot of the older kaiju movies,
And even
where they're
some
making political
yeah.
statements based off of kind of the story.
and even some of the music, the music in the first battle that they had with the Brickleback is what that monster was called.
Yeah, it was an awesome green.
The score and everything. Oh my god, they had a great crew work on this movie. The director was Chris Williams. He's known for like a lot of Disney movies. He's done Frozen, Big Hero 6, Bolt, a lot of Disney stuff. You
Yeah,
wouldn't
no,
expect
a
a
lot of
monster
it.
movie.
Yeah,
But he was actually just recently interviewed in LA Weekly, I believe, and he said his inspiration for this movie was King Kong, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and all of the older stop motion Ray Harryhausen movies like Sinbad and Clash of the Titans. So there is some kaiju roots in this movie, 100% for sure. I mean,
oh, I mean, there's a shot in this movie that is straight lifted from the original Godzilla movie.
oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just you see it happening, you're like, oh, well, that's that.
Yep, yeah, there's that shot, the Ibra Heart of the Deep with the claw
Yeah,
coming out in the boat. Tons of awesome imagery in this movie. Um, I really enjoyed it. I mean, so the movie follows the two main characters, Jacob Holland, who's played by Carl Urban. I mean, everyone loves that guy.
yeah.
He's in Lord of the Rings. He's in The Boys now. He was Judge Dredd in Dredd.
I didn't realize he was Dread.
Yeah, that was an awesome movie.
Yeah,
What else? He's been in a lot. He was
yeah.
in Thor.
I mean, yeah,
He's
yeah,
been-
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, Thor. But yeah, probably most known for, at least today, most known for The Boys, because that's
Oh, yeah.
like everywhere.
Everyone
I don't even
loves-
watch The Boys, and I know he's in The Boys.
Yeah. And it's so Jacob Holland and Zaris Angel
He's
Hater
He's just Hater.
as Maisie, his little girl.
Yeah.
So Jacob Holland, Carl Urban's character, is what's he called?
They're called
they-
hunters.
They're called hunters. I was going to call him a kaiju hunter, but
But yeah, basically that's what they are.
that's
They're,
basically what he
they're
is.
kaiju
yeah.
hunters.
On the sea ship. They hunted the sea beast. He's been doing it all his life because he was on a ship that was destroyed by a sea beast. And Maisie's an orphan. Her parents used to be hunters as well. they were killed on a ship,
Yeah.
and she's just a huge hunter fan boy,
Yeah.
fan girl.
She has this. She right now she lives at an at the beginning of the movie. She's living in an orphanage that is being funded by the king and queen of their kingdom, and so obviously it's filled with a bunch of books put out by the government. And the one that she's most enthralled with is the Tales of Captain Crow, who's a real person that still exists in the mythos of this movie. So she wants to go onto his crew because she wants to be a kaiju, a monster, a sea beast hunter. So she escapes from the orphanage, and kind of meets up with the crew of the Inevitable, who has just had this crazy fight with that Brickleback, and the ship has kind of just been almost like destroyed. Like they really went all out. Most of the people on the ship almost died, including the captain, and they're just super run down. They want to go back to town, spend their money from their bounties, and get back to shore because they're after this red bluster. Now, the captain, who is Captain Crow, this is kind of like his life's mission. He starts off the movie saying, "It's been 30 years I've been chasing this beast down, and it keeps getting away." These hunters do operate by a code, and he kind of almost breaks it at the beginning of the movie, trying to want to go after the red bluster versus helping out other hunters.
So while they're hot on the tail of the red blusters for the opening of the movie, but right as they're about to go into action against it, they see off in the horizon another hunter crew fighting the Brickleback, which you mentioned earlier. It's just basically like the Brickleback was like a giant.
It's like a sea serpent, but with like armor.
Tentacles.
Yeah, tentacles, and it has like armor plating, almost like a way a crab would, where it's like an extrovert.
Yeah.
Really interesting design, almost like an alligator with like a horn in the front, but then it turns into a serpent, but it has tentacles. Really weird, but kind of cool design.
Yeah, the designs for this are really cool. I mean, the red bluster
is the most simplest one,
which we see above us. It's a simple design. It's cool. I wish it had a little, like, even like the stomach, maybe give it like it's just all red.
And there's shading involved. I've seen some of the more early concept stuff, just doing some research before this, and it looked like it was a more detailed model. I don't know if something happened along the way, or they decided, hey, we're going to go a little bit more towards a kid-friendly thing, so we're going to try to just make it a simple red monster.
Yeah.
But I don't want to super. I mean, yeah, I thought the design of the red bluster could have been a little bit better, but if you look at,
it's simple and effective.
It's simple and effective, and you can tell just by watching this movie that the people who animated it really knew what they were doing. Because like the water, I think like the water animation
looks fantastic in this movie.
Almost looks real.
Yes, it does. It does.
And then like a lot of like, especially with like Maisie's hair, it's like very realistic. Like the way it like bounces and everything. Like you can tell that they like a lot of the monster designs for the friendly ones are very simple.
Yes, like Blue is
blue. Yeah, Blue is blue.
Little blue squishy guy.
There's like a yellow walrus.
Yeah, with all these like little walrus like pig baby things.
Yeah, but like those are very simple designs. But then like everything else, like you can tell like those are intentionally simple. Those weren't like, we don't really know how to animate stuff, so we're gonna just do like red.
And they made the bad ones were like the overly complicated ones. Like the crab fight. That was really cool.
Yeah. So
I mean, all the fights from the Brickleback to the crab fight. We get the red bluster versus the blue sea crab, and then we also have the red bluster fight. The queen and king make this like massive ship.
Yeah,
it's like it's supposed to be like the kaiju killer.
It's basically like a ship, but it's just covered. It's like each side is just cannons.
Yeah. So part of the premise of this movie is they go back with the bragging about the brickleback, and the king and queen are like, "We heard you could have got the red bluster, but you followed your dumb code and you went for the brickleback instead and helped those guys." They're like, "We don't pay you to follow codes." Um, so then the little admiral that's played by Dan Stevens, who's gonna be in Godzilla vs Kong 2 or the sequel, he's bragging about their new ship, and this ship's crazy. And Dan Stevens like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill the red bluster first." Um, so it turns into a competition between the Inevitable and Dan Stevens' crew, which is basically the King and Queen's army. Um, Whoever can get the red bluster first will continue to be the hunter for the king and queen. Because the king and queen are like, the hunters, the day of hunters is over now. This is the last job you're getting paid for. We have this badass ship now, and this is going to kill everything.
Yeah.
But when we see the battle between that ship and the red bluster, it's clearly not the case.
Yeah, no. It is the biggest stomping ever.
Oh boy.
But
it didn't stand a chance.
yeah. I mean, so to go on the plot, Maisie, so they go back out. Maisie's a stowaway. She tries to befriend Jacob to let her be a crew member, but he just is not having it. He's like, ship's no place for a kid. So anyway, she stows away, ends up on the ship, just like any movie. It's always a stowaway.
Every ship movie. Yeah.
Every ship movie. There's always someone who wants to be on the crew that gets no and then stows away.
Yeah.
They engage the red bluster, and it's just the most one-sided fight.
Yeah.
The red bluster is just very large. It's like the biggest kaiju, I think, in this movie that we see, and it just is so strong. It just makes a whirlpool, and it just has its mouth at the bottom of the whirlpool, just trying to funnel this ship into it, because it's just gonna just destroy the entire ship. Captain Crow does not want to give up, no matter what, and Maisie's the only crew member that has any sense, because she's just running off of survival instinct at this point. Is just, oh, this captain's gonna kill us. He's gonna take us all down with the ship. So she cuts the ship loose, gets knocked out with Jacob, and basically saves the entire crew. But because the captain is just so fixated, he's like basically ready to kill her. Like, he's pointing a gun at her and is like ready to go. Jacob's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "It's just a kid."
Yeah.
And then they just get swallowed by the red bluster, ship and all, because they're on a little dinghy, Jacob and Maisie. So they get swallowed, and they get taken away, and it kind of follows kind of their journey with the red bluster the rest of the way. They first off, they kind of climb through, and they get to like its nose, where they kind of use it as like a little viewport. And
yeah. Because at first I was like, how are they looking into the water out? It's got almost like a film that covers its nose when it's underwater. So they were able to breathe inside the red bluster the whole time and look out its nostrils like it was a window. So it's just pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty cool concept for a way for somebody to be inside of, like, to travel inside of a monster.
Yeah.
And be perfectly safe. Like, it's a pretty smart idea.
Yeah, I mean, and then they get back to the Red Bluster's Island, which is just loaded with monsters, not just sea beasts. You got all beasts, and he opens his nostrils, and Jacob's like still in like, I'm gonna kill this thing mode. He's got just him and a spear.
Yeah, he's gonna do it.
The spear gets stuck in the nostril, and the Red Bluster sneezes him out, and he ends up sneezing both of them out, and they're just like sitting on the beach. The Red Bluster's like, "Hey, later, guys," and they end up just taking shelter in a giant snail shell. And I thought this shell was gonna have like a monster in it.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I was like, it's gonna come out at some point. We're gonna see a hairy claw come out or something, but it never happened.
It was like a hermit crab or something, but yeah, and then this eventually leads into the awesome Red Bluster versus the giant sea crab fight, because the two of Jacob's like, all right, we're going. So they get on their little dinghy, and they start rowing out, and then they're like, "Oh, this thing is sinking. It's got a giant hole in it." And then they're like, "All right, let's go back to land." And then as they're going back, we get that Ibra scene, almost Eberhard of the Deep scene, where we just see a giant claw rise out of the water behind them, and the Red Blesser is not having any of it. He's like, I don't want to get hurt in this little girl. So there's an epic fight between the Red Blesser and the Sea Crab, and once again, we get an awesome fight.
Yeah, which is it's kind of like the last kaiju fight, monster fight of the movie.
Yes.
From there on, it's all just like it versus other boats and things like that. But it was a really good fight. I think it was about I felt like it was about like 10 minutes long.
What? No. It was a long fight, but it was definitely not 10 minutes long.
Maybe 5.
Yeah, it was a cool fight. Absolutely,
decent amount of time. But Maisie kind of figures out how to talk to Blue, and gets it to, bring them to an island where they can get a ship and get refuge and everything. She brings Blue with his, which is kind of like some kaiju she found on the island. You saying kaiju? It's a sea beast, but it's small. It's like the size of a dog. So it's like, it's like their companion. So they're riding the back of Red, and it's kind of like that whole like, oh, monsters aren't that bad thing. We have it wrong.
Yeah,
that's actually a good monster. And along the way, they slowly remove all the spears from its back, and it's kind of like one of those things where it's just like a generic kids plot as far as like, just don't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah. It's like almost like a very How to Train Your Dragon moment, like
Yeah.
That's where this movie has drawn a lot of comparison to How to Train Your Dragon. Because everyone, the beginning of How to Train Your Dragon, everybody hates the dragons. They're hunting the dragons, and he befriends a dragon, and his dad's like the biggest dragon hunter in the world. So it's basically very similar plot there, which some people have critiqued it for, but
yeah, but I just think
not 100%.
No, not even 100%. And then when you watch the end of the movie, it is 100% a different. Where they go with it, and the symbolism is completely different compared to like How You Train Your Dragon.
Yeah.
At least in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, we get like an epic, I'm going to call it a big city scene where Red is in the city and smashes a couple of buildings accidentally, though. Captain Crow, they reunite with Captain Crow eventually.
Yeah. So,
but
before
meantime,
I don't want to go to the end of the movie yet.
You go, take it over.
So, he brings him to the island, and he kind of drops him off. Jacob saying, "Oh no, not going to be hunting. No more hunting. I'm done." We get a pretty comical scene where he's trying to break a spear, but he can't do it. And they're walking over the. It's like a hill to this island. So this island's kind of like...
They're trying to climb like the peak of the island to kind of see where they are. They kind of want to see if they could find a ship nearby to flag down. And they end up finding the King and Queen's Admiral is docked at this island for some reason.
Yeah.
And
that's where we get the Godzilla shot with the monster peeking his head over the island.
And then roaring at them.
Yeah, it was straight lifted from the original.
Oh,
I was like, oh, thank God they did. I was so happy that they did that. And
I understood that reference.
Yeah, and the fight between it and this boat, or if we even call it a fight, it just swims straight through the middle of the boat and just
because it's got this huge horn on its head, so it just obliterates the boat with its horn. And the Admiral is like shook. He's like, all right, clearly I was way over my head and too cocky. But then the crew of the Inevitable is nearby, and they see this whole battle go down. And once again, Captain Crow is just like dead set on getting this Red Bluster. So while they were all on the island, Jacob and Maisie, he had gone to some like
witch
doctor
thing.
lady, and got this harpoon gun with some poison in it. That was a little weird, that scene, in my opinion, because he's like, oh, what's it gonna cost you? And she goes, everything. So like, what did he end up owing her? Like,
Because that was one thing, and you can. I guess at the end of the movie, he did lose the respect of his crew and everybody else. But then, like, they kind of somewhat, like, forgave him, or, like, he realized he was wrong.
Yeah.
It was really weird. They didn't, like, touch on, like, what his consequences were at the end of the movie.
Like, yeah. And,
he kind of just lost his crew.
Yeah. And, like, the whole time the crew is like, it's against the Hunter's Code to go work with this lady, and he goes there anyway because he's, like, that angry and driven to try to kill this Red Bluster. So he gets the poison... and jumps in after the Red Bluster destroys the Queen and King's ship, and he poisons it, and he doesn't kill it. He poisons it because he wants the bragging rights that he actually did it, and he wants to execute it in front of the King and Queen in their home city.
Yeah. So they bring Jacob and Maisie back on the boat. Maisie's a bit injured from all the fire of the cannon fire from the King and Queen's boat. So she gets a blood transfusion from Jacob. Jacob's talking with Crow, and Crow's just like, you're a hunter. You know who you are. I don't understand why you've changed so much. Maisie tries to kill Crow with like a knife.
Yeah, she wakes up mid blood transfusions like, I'm gonna shank this guy.
Yeah, I like checked the rating on this movie. It's a PG movie. But I was like, there's blood, there's like so much stuff, and I was like, oh my god, I'm like, she's trying to kill him with a knife, and but yeah, still a PG movie. But she's kind of locked away, and Jacob's kind of conflicted, and he's following Crow. She realizes while locked away, though, that all the books that everybody's reading are all issued by the King and Queen.
They don't have the royal symbol on it.
So this is kind of where the movie really starts getting... At the beginning of the movie, it was kind of clearly referencing, like, race relations and, like, don't judge a book by its cover. Just because you're told that somebody's bad, a certain type of thing is bad, doesn't mean that they all are. But once they hit this stride and they really start entering in the final act of the movie, it's all very much changes the tone of, like, the sub undertones of the movie, and it turns into a whole, like, the government is trying to separate people in the ways of, we pit them against each other and we profit.
Yeah.
Like, that's 100%. What the plot of the movie turns to, is, that whole, like, the empire has grown exponentially since the beginning of sea beast hunting.
Yeah, throughout the whole movie, they reference this time called the Dark Days.
Yeah. And
they're saying, the sea beasts used to come ashore and take children and raid farms. And it's sort of this moment that you're talking about when she discovers that it's all the royal. It's sort of foreshadowed a little early on in the book when she's reading all these quotes about the crew, and she's seeing Jacob killed 4 monsters in 2 days, and he's like, oh, it's actually 5. And then there's a point when he's on when he first gets on that island where Red drops him off, he's reading the book, and he's like, this isn't right. Like, he's like, this isn't even true. Like, he's reading through the book, and he's like, things are not clicking. And the book's about him and his ship with Captain Crow.
Yeah.
And that's sort of like the little foreshadowing there that this was coming, where it was going to.
Like, at the beginning of the movie, you're led to believe that this book that Maisie's bringing around is like a children's book with just, like, tall tales in it and stuff like that. So when he's saying, like, oh, yeah, it's really 5 monsters, it sounds like he's just trying to brag. But as you're going along and you see it has the royal seal and everything, you're like, oh, no, this is a history book that has false history in it.
Yeah.
So we cut. So we're in the city. Brings the Red Bluster there. Crow is about to kill it, but Jacob walks out. And I think initially Crow probably thought that, oh, he's coming to help me, but then quickly realizes like, no, he's confronting me. So Crow just like goes crazy.
Yeah, they have not really a sword fight. Like he just like kind of beats the crap out of him, kicks him in the water, type of fight.
Yeah, and then the rest of the crew, who's already been told that Jacob's taking over after this, is like, well, what is going on right now?
Yeah.
They've already been kind of second questioning the captain because he's gone back on his code, and you know they're very strong into their code and following it, and he's kind of disgraced the entire crew because he's used this like dark magic weapon on a monster, and it's not going to be an honorable kill because he's like poisoned it and is now going to bring it someplace else to execute it. So everyone's like, what are you doing? We get this giant fight, and during it, the crew kind of trying to get back from Crow, Red kind of starts to lose it because Maisie gets hurt again, or sees Maisie get knocked down. So it starts going on a rampage. They're about to start firing all these cannons. The king and queen are there, and it's kind of like really cool, like how like they're in this giant, like almost like theater.
Yeah.
Like the way this kingdom's laid out, like this the water part that they're in is almost laid out like a theater.
Yeah, it's almost like they would do like a water show there.
Yeah, and like the castle would have like its own like viewing part of it. Like that's kind of like the way this city's like laid out.
So Red's about to just eat the captain, is pissed off, and then who's it? Maisie?
Maisie's the one that steps up.
Yeah, Maisie's the one that steps up and is like, no, don't do it. You're never gonna end this. And she starts telling the whole city how the king and queen and their royal family is the one behind the war, that the sea beasts were never actually bad, that their ancestors started this whole story that the sea beasts were evil, just so that there was a constant war and fight with the monsters, hunters going out there, and the king and queen are not happy about it. They're ordering their entire army just to open fire on the monster, and they're like, what right do you have to say this is false? And she's like, well, my parents were hunters and they died on I forgot the name of her parents.
I think it was like the Monarch.
Yes, the Monarch. Yep.
Yeah.
Is that a Monsterverse reference?
Maybe.
But she's ordering her general to open fire, and then the whole city's like, let him go. Like, they're like, you're going to execute a child in front of an entire city? Because she wants them to just open cannon on Maisie.
Yeah. Yeah. And the head commander, because the admiral's no longer there, the head commander there doesn't give the order, goes against... Actually, no, there was a general. They were a general. Goes against the orders of the king and queen and says, like, well, she's like, my sister was on the Monarch, and I'd like to know if her death was in vain, or are they dying this glorious death that you've sold everybody?
Yeah.
So the king and queen kind of run off. They basically, the kingdom's overthrown. And it's basically happily ever after from there. Jacob actually breaks the spear. No more hunting. And then you can tell like his like legs like shaking, and then she's like, did that really hurt? And he goes, you have no idea how badly that hurt. And they live happily ever after. That's the end of the movie. I was really surprised with this movie.
Oh yeah, me too. It was a really fun movie. The way it ends, I don't think we can or should see a sequel.
No.
I think it's got to be a prequel, because if they do the sequels, then it's gonna draw the How to Train Your Dragon comparison even more.
Yes.
Because what's gonna happen?
She has blue,
what could the sequel possibly be? That another group from another nation comes and they want to hunt the sea beast, and they're encroaching on their peace with the sea beast, or all of a sudden there's a group of evil sea beasts. I don't think a sequel could work for this.
I think it would, I think it would,
I think we need a prequel where they're just mindlessly hunting them.
Yeah,
I don't want to say mindlessly, but
I can see a
there's
Captain
gotta be a
Crow
story to it.
I would like to see as to why Captain Crow is so obsessed with the Red Bluster and what it has done to him.
In the movie, he says, "Oh, his father and his father's father were hunters." But I mean, clearly, he's lost an eye, he's lost a leg.
And he's been saying 30 years he's been going after this single sea beast.
The opening scene of the movie, you see Jacob as a kid, probably just survived an attack from a monster. Who knows if that was the Red Bluster? Maybe. Was that the Monarch? That's the other thing that I want to put. No, it wouldn't be the Monarch because his parents.
So the one thing about that didn't make any sense. When he was on like the lifeboat when he was a kid, or was it like a door or a plank of wood or something?
Yeah.
It almost looked like a giant stingray with like white and black and white stripes on it.
Oh, yes.
That went underneath it. But I thought we were going to see that in the movie, and we never did.
Yeah, you know what? We never saw a follow-up for that monster.
I could see that maybe, but like, I feel like it's going to... if they do a sequel for this movie, it's going to defeat the messaging.
Mm-hmm. That's how I feel about it, too. I don't think you can do a sequel. You can only do a prequel.
Yeah. Yeah, if we can get a Captain Crow movie, that would kind of be cool because he has that awesome sea shanty.
Yeah.
So maybe we can get the crew singing that or something.
And I would like to see maybe a series even. I don't know.
I could see it, but I honestly don't know where you would go from here.
Yeah. It would need to be a prequel, in my opinion. It was a great movie, though. It
was a great movie.
As a standalone, it's great.
I feel that the messaging was so relevant for this time and everything, and I just thought that it came out at a good time. I feel like this movie. As a kid's movie, though, I don't know if I was a kid if I would be super into this movie.
I think so. It's got the monsters.
It does. It's got blue.
If you go with the basic plot, I think it works.
Yeah.
One of the main characters is a kid. I think it works as a kid's movie. I mean, clearly it's supposed to be a kid's movie.
Yeah, clearly it's supposed to be a kid's movie.
But it was a good time.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. We forgot to mention it on our last show, actually. But that it was out before it came out. But yeah, we ended up doing it. We covered it, and we loved it.
Yeah.
A lot more than like I said, I didn't expect it to be this good. Like when I saw the Ebert reference in the trailer, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. But I didn't expect it to be nearly as good as it was. But it was really good. If it came out on physical, I would totally pick up a copy of it.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. I'm hoping it does. I know every now and then
every once in a while.
release a Netflix movie on DVD or Blu-ray, so there's a chance. I think actually one of those Lin-Manuel Miranda movies that was on Netflix got a physical release this week, so I'm hoping that happens with this.
Yeah, no, I could definitely see that. But yeah, I believe that's it as far as this episode goes. So if you guys want to go again, check out our Twitter, at Mazer Squad over on Twitter. You can retweet that giveaway tweet to be entered.
Yeah.
And
the SS Dyna Xenon giveaway. It's a complete series digitally. I believe next episode we're gonna review it. So you can check out the series, check out the review. And we'll see you next episode.
Yeah. See you guys next time. Bye.